Okay, so let's have a discussion about the poem A Bird Came Down the Walk, right? Now, this is one of the poems which is categorized under nature. A bird came down the walk. Now, we know that when we take a poem or any literary text, always the title or the topic gives us a very important idea. තේමාව නැත්නම් ඒ ප්‍රධාන අදහස පොයම් එකේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට හංගවනවා topic එකෙන්. So the topic is very important. So here we understand, okay, it's about a bird, right? It's a bird who came down the walk. What's the meaning of down the walk? Who came to a path, a small path. පොඩි අඩිපාරකට වගේ ආව bird කෙනෙක්. Right, let's see the first answer. A bird came down the walk. So the speaker, there is no poet talking here, there is a speaker, right? If it is a story, that is a narrator. So the speaker tells us a bird came down the walk. You know, there is a path in my garden and a bird came. He did not know I saw. The bird didn't notice, didn't see, but I was looking at the bird. He bit an angleworm in halves. Right? Who is he? Not the speaker, but the bird. Now that is personification. We all know that. So the writer or the poet uses personification to talk about the bird. The bird is seen as an individual, an important individual. So the poet does not say it, but he. You know, giving respect, giving individualism to the bird. He bit an angleworm in halves. What did the bird do? Very leisurely, it eats something. What does it eat? A simple worm. It just breaks it into two halves, two parts, right? And eats it. You can underline halves and you can write two parts, right? Or like two pieces. So he broke it, ate. And ate the fellow raw. What's the meaning of raw? Amue. It doesn't cook and eat, right? It doesn't want to, cook or do something like that and eat. No. So what does the writer want to show here? Natural life, right? Very maybe uncivilized, savage, S-A-V-H-E, savage life. That's how the birds are. That's how creatures in the nature are, right? So here you can actually see another important thing. That is the poet word by word tells us or gives us minute details about the actions of the bird, right? Even minute descriptions are given, right? So a bird came down the walk. He did not know I saw. He bit an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. So what did the bird do? You can write the meaning here for the first stanza as a summary. The poet, you can write, the poet explains how a bird comes to his garden and eats a small worm. So this also brings out the savagery or the primitiveness of the bird, right? Okay, the poet explains how a bird comes to his garden and eats a small worm. So that is the first stanza. Let's move on to the second stanza. And then he drank a dew. So what is dew? Dew is, water, right? Pin, or it refers to water, right? So what does the writer want to say here? It's drinking water, very leisurely, right? From a convenient grass. You can underline convenient and write what is the meaning of convenient. That is very easy, right? Very easy, convenient or easy. So very easily he can find grass. On the top of the grass, there is dew. So he's drinking as leisurely as he can. And then hopped sidewise. What's the meaning of hop? Hopped means jumped, right? So he jumps wherever he was, right? So that refers to jump. Sidewise to the wall. So he goes to the side of the wall. Why does he go to a side? Because to let a beetle pass. Now think how much the writer, explains the behavior and the actions of this bird. Now, why does a bird want to rather go to a side? Because there is a beetle and it is not eating beetles. So it says, okay, I can let you pass. So the bird goes to a side and let or give room for the beetle to pass. So let's see the meaning of this stanza. And we can write a summary like this. So the second stanza tells us, right, or rather this tells us about the way that the bird eats and drinks, and also the speaker tells how the bird allows a beetle to pass. The beetle is let to go because the bird does not eat beetles. Right? This also brings out harmonious living in the nature. So ධර්මයේ හැමෝම බොහොම සමගියෙන් ජීවත් වෙනවා කියන අදහස මෙතෙන්දී අපිට පැහැදිලි වෙනවා, right? So the writer shows us how the bird allows the beetle to pass, right? So let me read it again for you. So the second stanza basically tells about this idea. Right? The second stanza tells us about the way that the bird eats and drinks, and also the speaker tells us how the bird allows the beetle to pass. The beetle is let to go because the bird does not eat beetles. So here we can see harmonious living in the nature. Harmonious living. Right. Let's see the third stanza. He glanced. What's the meaning of glance? Looked with rapid eyes, very quickly. If you can think, you can also give another word here, right? So we rather say being in alert, right? We normally say being in alert, right? Okay, so glance is looked. Rapid means quick. In other words, be in alert. Now, why does a bird have to be in alert? Because life is not easy for a bird. There can be very dangerous animals, creatures waiting to eat them, grab them. Right? So the bird is quite in alert. Right? And then that hurried all abroad. So hurried, what's the meaning of hurried? Very quickly, the bird is looking every side. All abroad, what is all abroad? Around him, right? Around him. They look like frightened bees. What is the meaning of frightened? Very scared. Harima bayavela. Bees. The eyes are like, like bees. Pabalu wage, right? They are shining, but they are scared. I thought, right? And then asked I thought he stirred his velvet head, right? So the speaker thinks that, oh, it has got frightened, right? Or very much afraid. So the bird has got frightened eyes and they are compared to frightened beak. So you can see the use of a simile also here. He is stirred. What's the meaning of stirred? It's like moved, right? Moved. His velvet head. What's the meaning of velvet? That is like very soft, right? Okay, so he is moving the head, looking this side, looking at the other side, always in alert, right? So let me remind you the meanings of the words that we discussed here. Glass means looked, rapid means quick, and hurried means also quick, as I said earlier. All abroad means everywhere, right? Everywhere. And then next one, let me type it correctly. Everywhere. And then frightened means scared, right? Scared. Or we can also say afraid, right? Afraid. And then beads are like, glass balls. Stirred means moved. And then velvet means very soft. Very soft. So you can check your spellings also and complete the note. Right. So like that, basically up to here, the writer talks about the behavior, the things that the bird does, and also we get to know about the qualities of the bird. It's a very careful bird. It's in alert. It's looking everywhere. Very much careful. It thinks about its security. Right? Okay, let's see the next stanza. Like one in danger, cautious. So how does the speaker see the bird? Very cautious. What's the meaning of cautious? Cautious means being careful, right? Cautious means careful. I offered him. Offered means gave him a crumb, a piece of bread, and he unrolled, or like, stretched the feathers and went home, softer home to his beautiful house. Let us see the meanings again, right? So the first one I said, cautious, that is careful. Offered, that means gave, right? Offered means gave. Crumb means a piece of bread. Unrolled means like stretch. Stretched. Rowed means when. Normally we row board, but here the bird, the meaning is the bird very carefully went back home. Softer home brings out the idea that a very comfortable home, or actually it is the nest here, right? Okay, so these are the main ideas we see. Like one in danger. So how does the bird actually move? It is as if the bird is in danger, right? And the bird is very careful, always cautious, right? So what's the meaning of careful or cautious? Very much in alert, right? Very much in alert, right? I offered him a crumb. Now the man actually likes a bird and wants to just give a piece of bread. We also do that, right? We don't think much. Just because we think pity for the bird, we need to give a piece of bread. But what is the response of the bird? Namud bird ke pratichare kumakta. And he unrolled his feathers. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it at all. Right? What does he do? He unrolled, quickly stretched his feathers and went away, and rode him very softly, nicely went to his nice home. Right? So what does it tell? Now this is a very important place in the poem. Because the writer tells us that, everyone has individualism. We can also write it here. So everyone think about individualism, right? We think that, birds and animals, they don't have individualism. They don't have respect. We can give food. We can do whatever we want for them. No, they are creatures of the nature. They have respect, right? They don't want to depend on us. They are self-dependent, right? They're self-dependent. They are depending on the environment, on the nature, not on us. We don't want to give food for them. They can mind their own work. But if, as humans, right, humans would rather interfere if they try to give something, go near the creatures, right? So we can say here individualism, self-dependent, right? I'm going to add the and here, individualism and self-dependence of the bird can be seen from this section. And also there's one more thing, as I said, that we can see. Let's see what it is. Also, the poet shows humans interfere the nature and its creatures, right? But when such interferences happen, the creatures of the nature do not like it. Individualism and self-dependence of the bird can be seen through this section or from this section. Also, the poet shows that humans interfere. Interfere the nature and its creatures. It's not needed, right? Look at the next stanza. Then oars divide the ocean. What's the meaning of oars? Now, when you're going in a boat, what do you want to use? It's an oar. So you use an oar, right? Then oars divide. What is divide? Separate. The ocean. Now think that you are going in a boat, right? Or anything on a stream, on a river, on the ocean, right? When oars are used, oars, what happens to the water? It's like the water is divided. Then oars divide the ocean. So the poet wants to talk about the beauty of the sea, beauty of the water, beauty of that small incident. To silver for a seam. What's the meaning of to silver? Now, when especially there is a moonlight, right? When it falls to the water, what is the color? It's like silvery color. So again, the beauty of the nature. The nature comes in different beauties. Noikun deval lesa swabhav dharme lassanai. Many example keepyak right then. And the next one is seam. Seam means a line where edges meet. The right? It can a normal situation. So seam means the line where edges meet. EDGES, right? Or butterflies of banks, in faraway banks. Banks means edge of a river. Aina, river heck. Of noon or in the evening. Leap, jump, it's like not only fish who can jump, right? Even the butterfly, they go near the water, but they don't really sit there, right? They just fly over it, right? And then flashless. What's the meaning of flashless? It's like flowing. FLOWING as they swim. So butterflies don't swim, they just go over the water, right? So like that, in the last stanza, basically the writer tells us about different beautiful things. Every creature in the nature has their own life, has their own desires, likenesses. They know what to do. We should not interfere. Let that beauty and the creatures in the nature be like that. We should not interfere. We think like pity for the bird. It's okay to give, but this is the idea of Emily Dickinson. She thinks, no, we should not interfere. Right, let's see the meanings of this stanza again. Alls means what is used to take a boat ahead in water. And then divide means separate. Silver, okay, seam means the line where edges meet. Off banks, away from the banks, river banks, right? And then noon means evening, like twilight. Leap means charm. Flashless means flowing, right? Okay, and also let's see what this last stanza tells us. Through the last stanza, the poet, අපි එතෙන්දි කියන්නේ ගොඩක් කලාවට මේ අදහස ප්‍රධාන poem එක ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ poet. Through the last stanza, the poet brings out or suggests the beauty of the nature. In the last stanza, the poet basically tells about the beauty of the nature. It's diverse, right? Okay, so like that, throughout the poem, the writer does not only talk about nature, but also talks about self-dependence, independence, autonomy, autonomy, autonomy or freedom that the creatures of the nature have. We humans should never trouble them, should never interfere them, right? Okay, so let's have a recap of the poem, paying attention to the theme and the techniques. A bird came down the walk. A bird came down the walk. He did not know what I saw. He bit an angleworm in halves and ate the fellow raw. And then he drank a dew from a convenient grass, and then hopped sidewise to the wall to let a beetle pass. He glanced with rapid eyes that hurried all abroad. They looked like frightened bees, I thought. He stirred his velvet head. Like one in danger, cautious, I offered him a crumb, and he unrolled his feathers and rode in softer home. Then oars divide the ocean to silver for a sea, or butterflies off banks of noon, leap flashless as they sweep. So throughout the poem, the poetess talks about the different types of beauties. The bird stands for or symbolizes nature. It comes and leisurely eats and drinks in the garden. The garden does not only belong to the speaker. Speaker garden. It belongs to the creatures of the nature. We should share the world with other creatures, but we should be careful not to trouble them, not to interfere them. So, for example, when a piece of bread is given to the bird goes away. It doesn't want to depend on anyone or anything. And then the poet in the end says that not only the bird, the nature is full of different types of beauties. We as humans should understand, okay, it's a beautiful natural world. There is diversity, differences in beauty. Butterflies, fish, birds, worms, they have their own world. They have their own beauty. Let us not disturb them. Let us, just give them time, give them space. So that is the main idea of the poem. So the poet also gives us this indirect message. We should not interfere nature. So hope that poem and the ideas are very clear for you. And as a last point, we can also refer to the technique. So basically, the whole poem is based on visual imagery. We can visualize අපිට මනසින් චිත්‍රයක් මවා ගන්න පුළුවන්. How the bird comes, how does it eat, how does it let the beetle pass, how does it break the worm and eat. Right? So things like that, visual imagery, especially the last stanza also, right? Like that, basically here the writer uses visual imagery, but other than that, there is also things like this, like simple diction, sarala kavya bhashav, right? So hope that idea is clear about the poem.